Good afternoon, dear students. I'm Tatiana Malohat, and at our today's lesson, we will speak about meeting. Opening part of the meeting. How should we do it? For example, we may use the following words. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone. If we are all here, let's get started the meeting, or let's start the meeting, or let's start. So the next part, welcoming and introducing. How should we do this part? Please join me in welcoming Mr. Kelly. Or we are pleased to welcome Mr. Kelly. Or I'd like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Kelly. Or it's a pleasure to welcome Mr. Kelly. Or I'd like to introduce Mr. Kelly. Stating the principal objectives. The following words can be used. We are here today to I'd like to make sure that our main aim today is I've called this meeting in order to giving apologizes for someone who is absent. How should we do this? I'm afraid Mr. Kelly can't be with us today. He's in Tashkent. Unfortunately, Mr. Kelly will not be with us today because he's in Tashkent on business trip. I have received apologizes for absence from Mr. Kelly, who is in Tashkent now. And reading the meeting's notes of the last meeting. Reading the minutes of the last meeting. To begin with, I'd like to quickly go through the minutes of our last meeting. First, let's go over the report from the last meeting, which was held on 25th of June. Here are the minutes from our last meeting, which was on 25th of June. Dealing with recent developments. Jack, can you tell us how the Candy project is progressing? Jack, how is the Tempus project coming along? John, have you completed the report on the new accounting package? Has everyone received a copy of the Tate Foundation report on current marketing trends? Moving forward, how should we do this part? Let's see. So if there is nothing else we need to discuss, let's move on to today's agenda. Shall we get down to business? Is there any other business? If there are no further developments, I'd like to move on to today's topic. Introducing the agenda. How should we do this part? Have you all received a copy of the agenda? There are 7 items on the agenda. First, second, third, lastly. Shall we take the points in this order? If you don't mind, I'd like to go in order today. Skip item 1 and move on to item 3. I suggest we take item 2 last. Next item. Let's move on to the next item. Now that we've discussed 5, let's now discuss the 6th one. The next item on today's agenda is, now we come to the question of giving control to the next participant. How should we do this part? Let's see. I'd like to hand over to Mr. Kelly, who is going to lead the next point. Next, Mrs. Kelly is going to take us through. Now I'd like to introduce Mrs. Kelly, who is going to, and this way we may continue. And the next part is summarizing. How should we summarize? Before we close today's meeting, let me just summarize the main points. Let me quickly go over today's main points to sum up. Okay, why don't we quickly summarize what we have done today in brief? Shall I go over the main points? Finishing up. So, right, it looks as though we've covered the main items. If there are no other comments, I'd like to wrap this meeting up. let's bring these to a close for today. Is there any other business? The next part is suggesting and agreeing on time, date, and a place for the next meeting. Can we set the date for the next meeting, please? So the next meeting will be on 10th of July, the 10th of July at 9 a.m. Let's next meet on 10th of July at 1 p.m. What about the following Wednesday? How is that? So the next part is thanking participants for attending. How should we do this part? Let's see. I'd like to thank Marianne and Jeremy for coming over from London. Thank you for all attending. Thank you for your participation, or thank you for your attention. In this way, we may do thanking participants for attending. The next part is closing the meeting. The meeting is finished. We'll see each other next meeting. The meeting is closed. I declare the meeting closed. So, useful phrases. What kind of useful phrases can we use during the meeting? Let's see. Getting the chairperson's attention. Mr. Chairman or Madam Chairman, may I have a word? If I may, I think, or excuse me for interrupting. And this way, we may get the chairman's or chairperson's attention. The next useful phrase is giving opinions. I'm positive that, I really feel that, or in my opinion, the way I say things, or if you ask me, I tend to think that. So such kind of useful phrases can be used during the meeting. So dear students, this is the end of our today's lesson, and your home task for the next time is please revise the learned material today and be ready to answer the questions. Goodbye.